Time for buffed, beautiful, and bitchin'. The at-home workout with Vera DeMilo.
Hi, I'm Vera DeMilo.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Jazz Gonzo here. Another episode of What's Next. Good Wednesday to you. Once again, we delve into the, sadly, the ocean of wokeness. And another pretend woman steps into the world of sports and basically not just embarrasses himself, but also takes full advantage of a situation regarding the sport. And it's sad, it's pathetic, it's disappointing, but it's 2021. Let's take a look. This comes out of Breitbart. Trans swimmer crushes women's records likely to win NCAA titles. Yes. No, that's not the son of Bruce Jenner. Transgender Penn swimmer Leah Thomas, a real man, has been crushing women's records and will likely take home the title at the NCAA Championships in March. Prior to joining Penn's women's swim team, Thomas, for the men's team for 3 years, he was known as Will. Still is, and you got to die as Will. Sorry, it's called facts. At the Akron Zippy International over the weekend, Thomas won 1650 by a whopping 38 seconds. You don't win titles in swimming by 38 seconds. You win them by 1 to 2. Ask Michael Phelps, the greatest swimmer of all time. Over his teammate, setting Penn records along with meet and pool records, according to Outkick. The women are in second place after day one after Zippy International Invitational. Thomas set a pool and meets record in the 500 free. In the 500 free on Friday night, Thomas won a race by 12 seconds and won the 200 free by 7 seconds. While Thomas set Penn records, he did not beat current NCAA women's swimming records in the same event. Olympic gold medalist Missy Franklin, 200 free. Olympic gold medalist Katie Ledecky, 500 free and a 1650 free. According to Daily Mail, the quote, winning the results also meet the National Collegiate Athletic Association, NCAA, standard required to qualify, which means Thomas will be automatically entered to compete in the National Championship meet in Atlanta next March. Earlier this year, Thomas expressed gratitude for being able to compete in swimming as a trans. Quote, the process of coming out and being trans is continue to swim was a lot of uncertainty and unknown around the area that's usually really solid. Thomas told Penn in June, realizing I was trans threw that into question. Was I going to keep swimming? What did that look like? In a statement in the past April, the NCAA announced that it is unequivocally support of the trans community. Of course they are. And expressed no misgivings about the prospect of biological men, real men, competing against women in their given sport. Yes, because they can't do enough in men's swimming, so they have to compete in a sport where they can just totally dominate. The NCAA Board of Governors firmly and unequivocally supports the opportunity for trans student athletes to compete in collegiate sports. This commitment is grounded in our values of inclusion and fair competition. So stunning, so brave. The NCAA then touted highly questionable concept of testosterone suppression as a valid equalizer for men competing in women's sports. Quote, the NCAA has a long-standing policy that provides a more inclusive path for trans participation in sports. Our approach, which requires testosterone suppression treatment for trans women to compete in women's sports, embraces the evolving science. Yes, science, not real science, on this issue, and is anchored in participation policies of both the International Olympic Committee, the IOC, and the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee. quote, inclusion and fairness can coexist for all student athletes, including trans athletes in levels of all sports, it continued. Our clear expectation as the association's top governing body is that all student athletes will be treated with dignity and respect. We are committed to ensuring the NCAA championships are open for all to earn the right to compete in them.
Weren't real, and you thought to yourself, well, I took biology, I know that men and women are physical categories, and I am one, so I kind of know it's true. And they said, relax. It's only about being sensitive to a small percentage of the population who are different. You don't want to judge them. You're not a bigot, are you? And you think to yourself, no, I'm kind of liberal-minded. I don't want to bother other people. Live how they want to live. It's like it's going to affect my life. Oh, but it is going to affect your life. In fact, it's going to reorder society completely. Here's the latest example of it. At the University of Pennsylvania, a biological man has decided to say that he's a woman, he's a swimmer, and he's destroyed the women's swimming records, of course, because he's a man, actually. The swimmer goes by the name of Leah Thomas, competed for 3 years as a man before he decided to identify as a woman. And in a recent women's competition, he just won a 500-yard freestyle by a full 14 seconds. Now, if you swim or ever do a swim meet, 14 seconds? That's time enough to get a beer and come back. Like that, there's no 14-second differences between swimmers, but there are now. Thomas's closest rival in a longer freestyle race was 38 seconds behind. That's a different country.
My thoughts. Absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. Once again, you have a man competing in women's sports. We saw this in Connecticut in track and field, where you had 2 dudes competing in high school track and field, beating out real women, taking their spots, taking their scholarships. So now we have a dude who looks like Bruce Jenner competing in women's sports, breaking records, 38 seconds. But that's okay according to the NCAA. So he's going to actually compete in Atlanta next March for the NCAA Championships. This is bullshit. This is absolute fucking bullshit. And of course the women who should be finishing 1-2 in their races, and they should be able to compete in Atlanta for NCAA championships, are getting fucking screwed. This is a fucking joke. And I hope lawsuits are pending about this, because this dude should not be able to compete against women, especially when you're crushing them like this in their respective sport. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Braganzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more just like this? Please leave a comment below, like it, share it, subscribe to it. And we'll catch you guys next time.